Kicks and Kicks is the only talk show that meets your sneaker and martial arts needs. I'm your host, Jacko, and today I'm here with digital creator and martial arts practitioner, Unlimited Anthony. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, it made me sound professional. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm excited to have you on finally. You've been in my sights, you've been in my circle for a long time, so I'm glad to finally be sort of collabing with you and actually sitting down to talk to you today because it's our first time actually, actually having a conversation in it. So it's weird. It's like meeting your idol, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's proper weird. I'm used to seeing you on videos and that, and like the occasional Instagram picture, and that's about it. But yeah, it was weird.
yeah,
Like
same.
actually seeing you there, and whatever you do now, I know you sat there doing it.
It's
I'm gonna
weird.
blow my own mind.
Internet's a weird place, isn't it? Yeah. So I thought maybe just to start off with, could you give like a breakdown of your content just for those who aren't familiar? So who you are and what you do, and just stuff like that, if that's all right.
Yes. Well, I'm Anthony. My channel's called Unlimited Anthony. Basically, that name comes from I start things and I always then change to do something else. So all my life, I played football for a bit, got bored, basketball got bored, boxing got bored, MMA got bored, parkour got bored. So I was like, I come up with a YouTube channel ages ago, probably about 10 years ago, played FIFA, got bored, stopped doing that. And then I was just like, I want to make a YouTube channel that I can just do whatever I want. And if I get bored, I can just change. So me and my missus sat there for ages and I was like, I want something with my name. I don't want any numbers in. I don't want like big donkey slong 1 2 3 because you know. So my missus come up with, why don't you just call it Anthony Does Everything, and then it just kind of, we come up. What about if we had Unlimited Anthony? I can do unlimited things, no matter what I feel like I want to do. I can just do it, put it out. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. So yeah, and that's where it started, and then it was kind of like, what do I want to do with YouTube? And I enjoy watching Syndicate's vlogs. I'm a big fan of his, and I've met him multiple times, and I always just thought his content makes me feel good. So if I can make someone else feel the way I do when I feel shit or when I feel down, if I can watch his stuff that makes him feel good, if I can make someone else, even one person, if I get one view and that one person feels better off watching it, then that's it for me. Yeah,
It's worth
but
it, isn't it? You've just
yeah,
got one person.
100%,
It's worth it. No, I totally get it, and
100%.
it comes across like the way you're saying about unlimited, like trying everything. Because in like the short amount of time that I've sort of known of you, you've done like reactions, vlogs, unboxing. You've done recently done a VR boxing video where you just throwing absolute bricks. That I'm whoever you're against that day, I feel bad for him, man. But no, you're always trying different stuff, and I feel like you're putting a different spin on it. Like with the reactions, you get some reaction channels and they just sit there, don't they? And they just don't say
Yeah,
anything, and they just say, oh, that was a good trailer, or just something like that. They just
yeah,
don't say anything. But for you, you're like doing funny edits, you're putting your own
yeah.
personality into it. So it's something I really admire about you. And yeah, no, I can definitely see like your content would make people happy, and it does make people happy. It's clear. So no, definitely great stuff. So I said about like, you make stuff your own. Maybe give this answer as like as if you're giving advice to someone, or maybe advice to someone who's just starting out. What are the key things that you do to make your content stand out?
So to make my content stand out the most is I find something I want to do, and I find a start, middle, and end. So, for example, if I want to go or do a takeaway review, rather than just doing it, getting some food, taking it home, not videoing that bit, and just getting the food and eating and going, oh, that was good. There's so many people that do good food reviews, just for an example, and they can sit there, they can tell you what kind of food it is, how many cheeses. If it's a pizza, how many cheeses are on it, what cheese are on it, what's good to have, what's not good to have. But if you just like food and you don't really know much about it, you just like eating it, you should find a start point. So your start point might be you telling the audience what you're going to do that day. The middle point is your travel to the destination, or if you're getting a takeaway, just some form of segment of that takeaway being brought to you, even if you have to set a little bit up yourself. And then the end bit is you reviewing the product, if you will, or just eating the food and seeing what you feel like. You can make anything entertaining, but I always find if you have a start, middle, and end, that's the best way to go at it, really. That's the way I find it anyway. So people are different, but I used to just do daily vlogs, which was literally film everything of my life, and I eventually got boring for me because I was watching my life back and I was doing the same thing every day. Whereas if you set an actual goal, right, I want to do this today, I want to do a handstand today, All right, well, we'll start by telling the audience that's what I'm going to do. Then I'll practice. So I'll show me practice. Then I'll show the end where I can actually do it. But that's it really.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, like whenever I click on one of your videos, it's like it's not, you don't just get what's on the title. I think like obviously you using the example of like a food review of something. Like if you're unboxing something, the title's like unboxing, and then I click on it and it's like a whole vlog of like you know like getting the package, you know what you're thinking before, and then obviously your thoughts after as well. So I definitely see like the kind of storytelling element as well. And like you said, you know, some things do need to be set up just to like tell that story as well, because you can't, not everything can be authentic, you know. It just you have to make it more interesting. So no, I definitely understand. It's a good bit of advice as well. I like it. So we'll move on. So you spoke about how Syndicate is sort of like an idol of yours, and we were talking a little bit before, like I think Syndicate is probably my earliest memory of watching like a YouTuber. Do you know what I mean? Like before that, I would watch like a Lego videos or something like that. We're talking like years ago. Like I'd watch like Lego videos or just something like that. Like I'd watch like a review of a toy or something probably. And then I got onto like YouTube gaming or just like a gaming tab or something, and I saw him playing the Call of Duty Zombies and stuff. And that's what really got me into him. And then he started doing vlogs as well. And I sometimes when I watch your stuff, because I can really see like the resemblance just in your like content.
Copying.
Yeah, not copying, like it's your own spin, but I can see the resemblance of like your content, your mannerisms, but also, you know, you can see the inspiration there. And I almost get like nostalgic sometimes when I watch your stuff, because it reminds me of old Syndicate stuff, which is it's something really nice. But I did a bit of research on your channel, and you have a video where you're actually at a meetup with him and you're doing like a little rap battle in front of him.
Shit.
So
oh wow. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, tell us a little bit. How did that come about?
I've got no idea. I just met him and I was like, oh, you know what, I did some impressions. That was another thing I used to do on YouTube. I used to do impressions years ago. And I just do like now just for laughs, I'll do like Scouse accents and stuff like that, and just mess around with it. But I used to like take it dead serious. I could do like some really good really good impressions that I really can't do anymore. So
give one a go. Give one a go.
The only one I can do that I know I can still do is Kermit the Frog.
Go on.
He's hey there, Miss Piggy. Can anybody help me find Charlie and Jackal? That's it. That's as good as it gets anymore.
That's quite good. That's decent. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm. Where was I? I'd finished work. I used to work in Manchester. I lived in Preston, worked in Manchester. And I was leaving work and I just sent a tweet out saying, "Oh, Manchester meetup," and it was when he was going around the UK doing like all the meetups, and the last one was in Manchester, and I was just leaving work, and it was either I had to go home, which is like an hour down the road, or it was a tram into Manchester City Centre, and then however long we were there for. So I just jumped on the tram, City Centre, waited about an hour. He turned up, met him, did a few impressions, got a bit of a laugh, and then. Yeah, and then some guy was beatboxing, and he was like, "Can you rap with the Kermit the Frog impression?" I was like, I don't know. I was like, "I'll try if you want," and that's where it come from. It just that random as hell. But I thought, whilst I was there, I'll leave a little bit of an impression on him. So if I ever come across him again, which I have done multiple times, by the way, straight away, every time I see him now, he recognises me, and he doesn't recognize. I met him in Trafford Centre and I walked past him and I just said his name and he was like, "Oh," he was like, "I know you." And before I even said it, he was like, "You come to the Manchester meetup doing the impressions." And I was like, "That's what I wanted." Yeah. So it was just to leave an impression, really. It wasn't anything serious.
Yeah, I saw him. He was recording. Did you make it into like a vlog or anything? Did you see or not? I saw him like recording.
I don't know.
You don't know? No.
I don't know. I didn't look for it. No.
I tried looking, but obviously it was probably 8 years ago.
It's a while ago. So it is a while ago. Yeah.
How many times have you bumped into him then? That must be lucky.
Bumped into him twice. So the first time I met him was at Insomnia.
Yeah. I
went to Insomnia. It was meant to be there, and after about 3 hours, it was a no-show. And I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go and buy some." I bought that. That's where I bought that poster. And there's a poster just outside the other wall. And I was like, "I'm just gonna go and buy a poster. I don't think he's turning up, so I'm just gonna go buy one and leave." And literally, as I got to the front, he appeared from the back. And I was like, since he was here, I got him to sign my poster, just had a quick chat with him. And then the Manchester meetup, I specifically went there to meet him. I bumped into him in the Trafford Centre. And then I went and did it was like sleep out to help out, something like that. It was like for homeless people. He put it out on his channel, and I was like, you know what? I don't do anything for charity. I was like, I'll go and do that. And I was like, I'll go and do it, and he'll probably be there as well. I'll meet him, bit of chat with him, and we'll do something good for charity. I raised over £100 for charity. Me and my missus went out. It was freezing. It was pouring down, and we just basically sat on the streets all night, just sleeping.
So you just stay outside, do you?
Yeah. All night, yeah. So it was freezing. But even now, with doing that and giving me that experience, he was there, and I had a quick chat with him. We didn't. It wasn't like I went there specifically to meet him, then go home. A lot of people, to be fair, did do that, and really? I was like, a lot of people was like turning up for like the hour. And as soon as it started raining, everyone was like, we're going home, and they went on. But me and my missus stayed out all night. It was good for charity as well. And no matter whether he's there or not going forward, I'll always do that every year. I can do it now.
Oh, really?
It's good for charity. Yeah.
You've done it multiple times then?
I've done it the once, and then we got put in the lockdown when I wanted to do it again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping this year I can go and do it. So this technically would have been the third time it's coming to do it. My missus is not keen, but at 100% I'll go out and do it.
Is she staying at home then? She's not coming with you next time, no? Or are you going to make her go?
She says she's not coming, but then it'll come to it, and she'll be like, I'll come now. And then 3 hours in, she'll be like, why have I done this? Why have I done this? But
just get a guilt trip her, and then once she's there, she doesn't have a choice, does she? So
that's the one. Yeah. If I drive, she can't go home. Yeah. So, but it's good as well. So I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but it's good.
No, carry on. Yeah.
It humbles you as well. You think like every night I get into a big warm double bed. If I want to turn the heat on, I'll turn the heat on. If I'm too hot, I'll just open the window. If I want to go and get a drink, everything is literally, I can just reach everything I want. But some people just don't have a choice. If it's pissing it down that night, it's tough. They're getting wet. If it's boiling and they've no drink, it's tough. They're dehydrating, or you're gonna go and drink out of a fountain. So it just gives you that realization that, like, be grateful for what you've got as well. Like, some people work at Mackey's and they're like, oh well, I only get paid like £7.50 an hour. But at the end of the month, you still come out with more money than someone sat on the street. And someone sat on the street might not physically be able to get a job, not because they're lazy or they're on drugs. It's people come out of the army. The amount of soldiers that end up on the street is a joke. So, anyone that can do anything for charity like that, I would urge you to do so, because it humbles you. It makes you realise what you've got. And even if you think it's only minimal what you've got, it's still a lot more than most people have. So.
No, definitely, yeah. I mean, you think of just like other countries as well. Like we take it for granted that we can just go outside of our house and just walk around on the street. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's that's just not the case for other places in the world, or even in this country. At least we have the choice to go out and do what we want. Do you know what I mean? So no, so it's definitely great. Yeah,
we have a lot of freedom that a lot of countries and a lot of people don't have, and there's a lot of people that feel like they have more rights than other people, which is wrong. People will walk into the amount of it, you'll see it on YouTube enough time if you just type it in, like the amount of soldiers that go into like a McDonald's and be like, can I use my military discount? And someone will start hurling abuse at him, asking them why should they be able to use their discount? I'm like, well, they're going out to war every day while you can sit on your ass in your office typing away on your computer and drinking your Starbucks. So it's no,
and I mean, obviously, like, people who do those kind of jobs, like, it's nothing against them, but at least respect like the people that are going out to those dangerous places. Do you know what I mean? Like,
exactly,
it's not for everyone, but you got to respect, if you choose not to take that path, then you've got to at least respect the people that do. I couldn't agree with you more. So I didn't actually know that about the sleeping out to help out stuff. I didn't know that you did that, so that's cool. You should like vlog it or something as well. That'd be a cool. Have you done that before? Did you do it before?
I did it. That was before I started vlogging. So basically, I wanted to start vlogging like for ages, and I just didn't get around to doing it. And then it was after one Christmas, I felt like probably like a lot of people. I just felt depressed and down. It was like I was in a job I didn't want to be in. I was just eating crap. I wasn't playing football anymore. I wasn't doing anything that I was actually happy doing, and things that I wanted to do. I just didn't have the motivation to do. And again, it'll come back to Syndicate, but he posted a video on his channel. I think it was 10 tips on how to become a YouTuber or like start a YouTube channel. I literally sat there and I must have watched that 10 or 15 times. Just kept watching it on repeat, on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. What does he say? What does he do? What does it? And then the main thing he said that I took away from it is, you don't need all this fancy equipment. You don't need Canon cameras, and you don't need multiple lenses and lighting. He said, if you've got a phone with a camera, start there. And so that's exactly what I did. The day after I watched that video, that's when my first vlog got posted, and it was terrible. It was on a terrible camera, but I just got it done because that's what he just said, just get it done. And that's where that stemmed.
No, I think people overestimate like how much you need a camera. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're walking around with a HD camera in our pockets, most of us anyway. Do you know what I mean? On our phones. So it's just like, yeah, exactly.
That's my. I've got 4 cameras, and this is what I vlog on. Every video pretty much I film. This is on this. My webcam I'm using now is not even half as good as my phone. So people walk around going, I want to start a YouTube channel, but with an iPhone sat in the pocket, that's a Samsung and an iPhone camera's so much better. But people sat there going, I need a Canon camera when I've got an iPhone 10 sat in my pocket. I'm like, no, you don't. You need that phone.
Yeah, I feel like most of those people that are making those excuses, though, I feel like it's just like a front. Like, I feel like it's just because of like insecurity and stuff. They don't want to start it. So like, I need to wait till I get a camera. Like, I've known people in the past who, like, you know, they say they want to do stuff, like they say they want to be a vlogger, but it's about the execution. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think like people hold themselves back and they use equipment as an excuse. But you, like we just said, you don't need like really amazing equipment as long as like the actual content is like worthwhile. You don't need like expensive stuff. So I totally agree with you, mate.
The stuff that you like, you literally need the bare basics. If you need to pirate download the software, like I'm not saying go and do it, but I mean, if you are in that dire need, I've only just bought my own software, so and I'm not saying I had pirate software, but
there are loads of free ones as well. There are loads of free editors and stuff that are great. Like my one that I've got now is completely free. I haven't bought or pirated the one. It's just something you can download. And my computer that I use is terrible. Like, it takes so long, but you know, it's just the grind. You know, you just got to do it.
It's got to get it done. And a lot of people will be like, oh well, I know I need to. Yeah, I know. We could go around these circles on this forever. But
so obviously we spoke about you meeting Syndicate, but when I was checking back on your, on some of your videos, I found your collab with Callux. Out in public. Do you not remember that? You were playing like a little back and forth word game.
Shit the bed.
What?
I can't. I forgot. I know what that is that still live on my channel?
Yeah.
Shit.
Am I not supposed
old.
to? Am I not supposed to be talking about it?
I mean, no, you can talk about it. That's fine. I thought I privated that, but I must have unprivated it at some point. That was back in my FIFA Call of Duty gaming days. And I was, like I said, I worked in Manchester. I worked before I had the job working in Trafford. I worked in Manchester Arndale. I worked at the Crocs store. So the shoes, the dead shoes. Yeah, I worked in that. I worked in there, and he announced they were doing a meetup, and I was like, I had literally worked down the road. So if I just turned up an hour before my shift, and I just kept bobbing my head around it, and I met him, and I had a little camera somewhere. So what talking about cameras, this is what I filmed it on, and it's terrible. But I was like, I'm never going to get this chance again. I've never met him since. I don't know if I ever will meet him again, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to take my chance, do a little bit of a video, even if it's terrible. I've just put it on my channel. I've got it there. It's a memory then. And we played a little word association game, and you can probably tell by my face, I was absolutely shitting myself.
Yeah, no, the nerves definitely coming across in that video. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah, no, I was surprised because it's quite a long, like you were with him for like 5-10 minutes. So what, he was just chilling there for a long time, or were there not a lot of people there, or what?
He arranged a meetup, and then the Arndale Centre like pretty much shut it down, said no, you're not allowed to do it. So he tweeted out saying, oh, the meetup's cancelled. I will not be in the Manchester Arndale at 2 p.m. So it was like, that's what he's going to be. So I just I popped my head out. I was in work, just popped my head out sitting. I was like, just grabbed my camera and shot down. But yeah, there was enough people there. There was probably, I'd say, still about 100 people. And
Oh
he was
wow.
like, I was just chatting before I put the camera on as well. I was just chatting away to him, just telling him like how much I liked his videos and all that. It was with, do you know Chip, the burnt Chip?
Oh yeah,
Have
yeah,
you
yeah,
heard of it? It was
yeah.
with him as well, and there was someone else. There was someone else there that was a YouTuber, and I can't remember his name, but he was there as well. There was two of them, and it was actually Chip that filmed the video.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like,
Well,
who did he who was the photographer? But I guess
yeah,
you
it
asked his
was.
mate to do
But
it.
there
Yeah.
was all there was all dead nice. Like I was just chatting away to him, and I was like, I don't know if you're gonna say yeah, but I've got my camera and I'd love to do something for support my YouTube channel. And just before I even finished my sentences, you're like, yeah, get your camera out, no problem. And it was like, even afterwards, we didn't just finish it, and he was like, right, get away. We stood there chatting for another 5 minutes, just about YouTube and just about life and stuff like that. And it was just proper genuine. And
Mm.
people can say what they want about specifically Callux if they want to like slate him or anything like that. My personal experience with him, he was like top. It was, he's top guy. And
Yeah,
I
he
think
comes
a
across
lot
as
of
a nice guy. Yeah.
and he just had nothing but time, and that's time's probably the most important thing you can give. You can give someone a tenner, you can give someone a drink or something like that, something materialistic, but time you can't get back time. So
No, yeah, I was definitely like, obviously he's a nice guy, but I was surprised about how long he spent sort of talking to you and stuff. So he must have been there quite a while to get around everyone. But no, it's good. It's good to like, and I think that's one thing about vlogging as well. It's good to have like those memories, even if you find them like a bit embarrassing and stuff, or whatever. I think that's something it's not really spoken about enough. It's like vlogging isn't just for like getting famous or like, you know, showing it to other people, but we're living in a world now where like your kids and grandkids are going to have like a day by day diary of like your thoughts, your life, like in this time period. And that's not a
yeah,
thing that think about it, like your great grandparents and grandparents, like how much that would have helped you if you knew like, oh, my granddad was not so different to me
yeah,
back in the day. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's almost like it's a privilege that we've got now, that there's been no time in like human existence where we've been able to do this, which I think is something that's not spoke about enough. Because even think about it now, like imagine if like Bruce Lee was a vlogger.
Oh, it's
Imagine that. Or
don't
like
get
Michael
me started on
Jackson.
Bruce Lee.
Imagine Michael Jackson was a vlogger.
Yeah,
How
exactly. Yeah,
how incredible would those vlogs be? Like to watch. People would watch them all the time.
yeah,
And then think like, if your great granddad was a vlogger or something, you'd know so much more about him that you don't now. So I personally think everyone should be creating content just for that reason, just because it captures, you know, for you it captured when you met Callux, which, whether, I mean, judging by your reaction, you might not want to remember it, but you remember it now after I've mentioned it. So yeah.
yeah. It's for me. I started it not for the fact of I don't specifically if my channel blew up and I got 10,000 or whatever many thousand people, however many people watching, would I want to do this for a job? I'm not specifically set out to go and do this for a job. I've not gone, right, I tell you what, I'm going to invest £1,000 into all this equipment and all this stuff to get that £1,000 back. Anything I put into doing this is because I want to do it. And
Yeah.
a lot of people start YouTube for the wrong reason. They started go, I want to make some money because I've seen KSI buy a Lamborghini, or I've seen a Mr. Beast give away £100,000, or like that's why people want to start it, because it seems like an easy job, which I'm guessing it's a lot easier than most jobs, but there is that element that you still got to want to do it. If you can get your dream job, if you don't like it, if your dream job's to be an astronaut and you things to get on the moon, and you get on the moon and you don't really like it, well, it's not your dream. It's like you're not going to enjoy doing it, whether it's your dream job or not. So people go, I want to be a YouTuber, and then they start becoming this YouTuber or get 10,000 people, and they go, actually, it's not what I thought it was going to be, so I'm just going to bin it off and then find something else. You're just wasting your time and wasting potentially other people's time and potentially someone else's opportunity. Because you might get a shout out that's worth you 100,000 subscribers and then bin it off after another 2 months, whereas someone else might have 100 subscribers but have been doing it for 8 years and they've just not been lucky. People have just not come across the channel. Well,
Yeah. No, definitely. And I think I've come across a lot of people who, you know, they do it, that you can tell they're just doing it for the numbers or for the money or whatever.
Yeah.
And it comes across, but also the thing that they don't realize is the job doesn't change when more people come. Do you know what I mean? Like when you
Yeah.
make a vlog, your vlog is the same no matter if 100 people watch, 1,000 people watch, or 0 people watch. Like it is, the job doesn't change no matter how far along you get. So if you don't like it when no one's watching, then you're not going to like it right at the top, are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people think. Oh, I'm just grinding. I don't enjoy it. I don't care about it. But I'm just trying to get up to where everyone else, all the famous people are at. But they're doing. It's just the same job when you get to the top, basically, which a lot of people don't really appreciate. Yeah. So
They just want to get the money and meet the people. Essentially, a lot of people start YouTube so they can meet the people they watch and work with the people they watch. But if you think about it, if you start playing football, if I start playing football now, because my dream is to play up front with Harry Kane, by the time I reach playing for England, he's going to be gone. People don't think of it like that. People think if I start YouTube now, I'm gonna be working with KSI within a year, and then within a year they've got 200 subscribers, and they're wondering why they're not working with KSI. And then they go, "I'll tell you what a waste of time that was, Bennett." And
yeah,
really, it shouldn't be about that. It should be about, right, I've done a year, I've got 200 from nothing. Literally, I always say it. If you picture 200 people stood in a queue, would you go and queue for something? Chances are, unless you're a sneakerhead or something like that, like yourself, you're not going to queue. If you went to Argos and there was a queue of, I've got now 216 subscribers. If there was a queue of 216 subscribers, I'm not waiting, no matter what. That's a lot of people. People go, it's only 216. I want 10 million. Like
it's
216 is a lot. It is
it's
a lot
of people. You'd be nervous if you were in a room of 216 people. You'd be nervous to talk to them. Do you know what I mean? You'd be nervous to stand up, like anyone would. So, shall we move on? Because I wanted to talk to you about, because I know you mentioned before on Instagram that you've had some experience with MMA. So maybe just talk us through, like, did you start with MMA or did you start with, I know you mentioned earlier you started with boxing. So where did you sort of get into the whole like fighting scene?
Right. So I was a naughty kid at school. Primary school, I was a naughty kid. Just like I was always climbing. I do stupid stuff like I'd mainly do it for a laugh, but then it got to a point where I was just doing it for the sake of doing it. So I'd like jump over railings, and one is the one that always gets brought up at like Christmas dinners and stuff. I jumped over a railing and just led in the middle of a road, and I have no idea why. I can't tell you why.
Yeah,
it just happened. I was only about 7. Just scaled the railing up, let it middle of the road, like weird stuff. But then it'd be like jump over railing into like the park behind me, then I'd run through the park. And that then becoming to like I'd have little fights with people. And then when I got to high school, I quiet and write down. I think because it was the environment was a lot bigger. Like where I went to primary school, it was tiny. I knew everyone was from my estate. And then I got sent off to a school that was like 10 miles away from my house, and it was in a village. It's now a town, but it was a village at the time. And I didn't know anyone apart from the one person that got sent with me. And then I ended up having a fight with a lad in my second year of high school. I'd never had a proper fight, and I had a fight with this lad that was in my year. I was terrified of him. I thought he was going to kill me. And after that fight, I thought, I really need to learn how to look after myself properly. I wouldn't, if you had to pick a winner and a loser of that fight, I definitely didn't lose. I would say the other guy lost massively, but I realized after that fight that I could have easily been the other guy. He just couldn't, he was just a worse fighter than me, if you will. And I'd never had a fight.
He was like bigger than you. He was like bigger than you, but like not better fighter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So like I just threw punches and hoped for the best. I could not fight to save my life. It was probably something like that.
Yeah.
Then when I got home, I was like, I need to do something. And my mum would never let me go to a boxing club or anything like that. Just, I don't know why. She didn't have a reason for it. And then one of my friends popped up, and his cousin was a pro boxer at the time. And he was like, oh, my cousin's taking me down to boxing gym. Do you want to come? So I was shouting upstairs to my mum. I was like, Mum, can I go? It's like 50p at the time to go for like an hour and a half training session. Really? She was like, yeah, go on. Yeah. It was only, 50p? It was like an amateur boxing club, but because we were kids, it was like an hour and a half, 50p. It was
oh wow,
all government funded and everything like that, because it was an full proper amateur boxing club. Yeah. So I went there, and because I'd religiously watched boxing. Like when I was a kid, I just loved boxing. I loved Bruce Lee. I had all the Bruce Lee collection videos, all that. So I knew how to throw punches, so I could do your basic 1-2. So when I got to boxing, I wasn't instantly at the bottom. I went into the boxing gym, and the first time I sparred, I got absolutely filled in by a lad that was a year younger than me. He was called Francie, an Irish lad. He was a year younger than me, and he was built like an absolute shit house. And I thought we were going to. I genuinely thought that this is where I could actually die.
Yeah.
He hammered me so much. My head has never snapped back so much in my life. And I went on. I was like, no, I'm not going back there.
Yeah, I mean, at least you got to experience that in like a controlled setting, like in the boxing gym. Do you know what I mean? Because if he laid into you that hard, if you saw him out on the street and like pissed him off or something, like it would have been a different story. So I think that's one reason why I think a lot of people should go to, you know, martial arts and boxing and stuff, is because I think everyone needs to understand what level they're at. There are people that are like untrained that walk around as if they could like mess anyone up, which I'm not saying walk around and like, you know, feed your ego and think like, oh, I could fight him or something. But a lot of people don't understand how vulnerable they really are. And I think once you go in there, obviously for you, that was that experience where you were, you know, you're getting whacked by that guy. Then you really understand like where you stand in like the pecking order, and you know, could you realistically defend yourself? And then I think that pushes more people towards, you know, actually wanting to train yourself up. Like obviously you had the fight in the school, and then and I think a lot of fights stem from fear as well. I think like if you weren't intimidated by that bigger guy, you probably wouldn't have fought him, right? Like if he was just like a little kid that you just didn't really care about, who's like a few years younger or something, or just like a tiny little guy, you probably wouldn't have cared. But it was probably like you could probably admit like it was a bit of ego probably, and a bit of fear, like, oh, this guy's bigger than me, I need to show that like I can beat him. And then I feel when you go into boxing and to taekwondo and martial arts and stuff, you kind of learn to leave that alone, because muscle and size don't win fights. I think, you know, it's just a fact. Like, and people who think that are the ones who are untrained, and the big guys who aren't trained are the ones that have false confidence. Do you know what I mean? Like what I was talking about, who, you know, they feel like they can beat anyone. But go ahead, carry on. So how old are you when you got into the boxing gym then? How old was that roughly?
I was just turned 14. Just turned 14. The guy that filled me in the first time was 13. And I done that, and I was like, oh, I'm not going back. And then the week after, I was, weirdly enough, I didn't say I wanted to go back. I was in my head, I was like, I'm not going back. And then the week after, I completely forgot about it. I was like, oh, I want to go back to. I've been watching boxing again, so it kind of got me like pumped for it again. So I was like, I want to go back and try it again. And then after that, I didn't spar for about 3 or 4 months. That was my first time ever going when I sparred, by the way. It wasn't. Yeah. I'd never. It was just kind of like the guy asked me, do I want to spar? And I was too scared to say no, because it was him and his friends, and it was just me. So the court's like head guarding me, gloves on. But then I didn't spar for about 3 months. I just learned how to box, and I was there for about 2 years. Trained 5 days a week for about 2 years, and I loved it. And it was just, I fell out of love with it. Just, I got bored of punching the same bags and hitting the same pads and sparring the same people. And I don't know why I didn't fight. I was a decent boxer. But yeah, I had my boxing card, everything like that. So I could have fought amateur boxing, but they just didn't put me in for a fight for whatever reason. They must have had their reasons for it, whether I weren't good enough or anything like that. But I would spot British amateur champions and stuff like that, and I would give them a good spar as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So it wasn't a case of I was really bad at boxing. I thought I was decent. Yeah. I just don't know why I didn't get put into fighting after about 2 years. I think because they didn't put me in for a fight. I was just like, oh, you know, what am I doing this for? I'm just kind of going training for fitness now.
Yeah, you didn't really have anything to like work towards almost. That's probably the reason.
Yeah. So I just ended up quitting, and then I stopped boxing and just didn't do anything for a couple of years.
Okay. And then so you didn't do anything for a couple of years, and then did you take up MMA after that? Was that after that 2 year like kind of break? You were like, come on, you have all this like anger and testosterone built up, you probably wanted to get back into the gym. So why did you go back to MMA?
So I watched. Have you watched a film called Never Back Down?
I haven't actually. No. Who's it got in it?
I don't know any of the actors. It's like it's
It's
it's an
not.
American.
It's
It's
not
an
a very
American
well
film.
known.
It's
Okay.
about basically a kid, a lad that can fight. He plays American football and he goes to this new school and there's this martial arts lad there and he just beats on him, so he learns MMA. So I watched this film with my friend and I was like, oh, like I didn't know anything about UFC. My brother watched it. I didn't watch it. So I told my brother about this film. He was like, "Oh, he's like UFC." So he showed me Anderson Silva. We watched Anderson Silva. I think it was Anderson Silva, Rich Franklin fight. And I
Yeah.
was like, I need to like go and do something like this. Where's the gym? And then when I started, there was no gyms. There was just one place that I knew. So I turned up there, and at this point, I used to smoke 20 a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to go out drinking with my friends. So I was unfit. Like I'd gone from boxing, being really fit, really in shape, to I was probably about 95 kilos ish.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But and I was about 70. So I've gone from 70 to about 95, smoking like a chimney. And then I just turned up at this MMA gym and I was like, oh, can I watch this session? And this big guy called Andy come up to me and he was the strength and conditioning coach and he was like, he's just a meathead.
Yeah.
He's not really a power lifter. He doesn't take steroids. He's just, do you know one of them people that's naturally, he does road works for a living. So he just digs holes. But
Yeah.
he'd probably dig a hole quicker than your digger can do it. Like he's just a big guy.
Just a big machine. Yeah.
Yeah. And
No,
he come up to me and he was like, what do you want to do? I was like, I just want to watch and I'll come back next week. And he was like, I had a tracksuit, a black tracksuit on, and it was in the middle of summer. And he was like, no, jump in and start. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'll just come back next week. And he was like, no, jump in and start. And that was it. Then I did that first session, and then that was on a Tuesday. I went back on the Thursday, and I paid it was 30. It still is £30 for a month, and you can go 7 days a week. Sometimes I train twice a day. So I just started going every single day without fail. I'd just be out of the class constantly. I stopped smoking. I stopped going out with my friends drinking, and I was like, right, this MMA thing, like I really enjoy it. It's not just boxing. I was learning how to wrestle. I was learning jiu-jitsu. I was learning judo. Like all different. It was different things every day. So exactly what my YouTube channel was like.
Yeah.
I wasn't just stuck and rooted to one thing. I was doing just multiple things. And then I was probably about 19 at the time. So it's probably about 4 years rest I took. So then I probably did that for like six years MMA, competing in jiu-jitsu, competing in MMA, competing in wrestling, competing in boxing. I had boxing matches out of the MMA gym. So yeah, it was a good time.
Oh, that's great. Do you think your boxing experience like helped you before, or did you sort of forget it all?
I forgot. I knew the basics,
Yeah.
but when you try, if you just know boxing and you go into an MMA gym and you trying to just box, you quickly learn that it's not going to happen. I throw a jab, and the lad that I was training with was, say I was 5'7" at the time. This kid was about 5 foot and probably about 8-7 stone. Little skinny, scrawny kid. I throw a jab at him, and I'm burning man. I'm like 95 kilos, 19-year-old, about 5'7", 5'8", maybe somewhere around there. And I threw a jab at him. He leg kicked me, took me down, and before I knew it, he's got me in a triangle. I didn't even know what a triangle was. Before I knew it, I'm just choking, and he let go, and he's like, "Oh yeah, if someone gets you in that, you need to tap." I was like, "Right, noted." And then
that's a great. That is a great feeling though, when you get destroyed, and then you're just like, wow, there's so much to learn. I'm sure, like obviously with your like unlimited part of Unlimited Anthony, like wanting to do so much at once, like it must have been good to transition from boxing where it's just like jab, hook, uppercut and stuff, and then you go into MMA and it's like you said, something different every single day. So how was it? So was it literally something different every day, or were there different trainers that came in, like a striking coach and a grappling coach, or was it just sort of like whatever the guy thought of on the day? How did it split up?
It was structured, but there was one head coach. He's called Steve Nightingale, and he started the gym. Basically, he just took up MMA. I'll go back to the beginning. He started from rugby, and they took him to a wrestling class to bring on the tackling, so they could learn how to tackle better for using freestyle wrestling. And then he started wrestling from there. Then he started. He got invited down to Carbon. Do you know Darren Till that's at UFC?
Yeah.
the gym that he trains at, he got invited to go and train down there, and then he picked up MMA through there, and then
Oh, right.
eventually started his own gym up in Preston, which which propelled it really. So he whatever he took from Carbon in Liverpool from all these world class trainers, he then brought to us. So like Monday night might be striking, Tuesday night might be just solely fitness, then sparring. Wednesday night was wrestling. So it was just different thing every day. So no one got bored. I think that I'm guessing it was so no one got bored.
Yeah.
Because if you just do it, like I say, if you're just repetitively doing the same thing for weeks on end, it's not long before people don't pay the memberships and don't come back.
No, yeah, agreed. Yeah, no, because I've got a couple mates who are in some MMA gyms. Admittedly, they've only been there like a short amount of time, but it seems like they focus mostly on striking. I don't know. I know there's a few people in the UFC as well who like their coaches mostly focus on striking, and you know their weakness is grappling. You know, so
Yeah,
I think it obviously you had like a good, well-rounded coach, and you're at a good gym, obviously. But I feel like there are some places that just don't have that like kind of balance right. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and it's interesting that you prefer like learning a lot at once, because I feel like I'm glad I got to learn taekwondo. Like I got to learn one discipline first. Do you know what I mean? I feel like
yeah.
it'd be a lot of information to take in all at once. Do you know what I mean? Like, did you ever struggle like with getting mixed up between uh different techniques and stuff, or was it all just like integrated into just what works from each martial art?
Yeah, so it's different for everyone because like a lot of people do prefer just to have like just if they're doing jujitsu, just to do jujitsu, or
Yeah.
if they're just doing boxing, just do boxing. But for me personally, it made wrestling made my jujitsu easier because I would do a class of jujitsu, maybe get tapped out 20 times, then I would be wrestling. And when I'd be on top, I'd start figuring out the positions I'd get tapped out in jujitsu, which just weirdly enough, I would just be wrestling and I'd be like, oh, this is where I got tapped out the other day. And then I'd be subconsciously thinking about it. So the next jujitsu class I went into, I'd be like, right, don't put my head down there, don't put my hand there. When I was wrestling, I did this to keep them, I kept my hips low. So for me, it worked better because whilst I was doing the other martial arts, so whilst I was just boxing, I was thinking about when I can land the kicks for kickboxing, when I can shoot the takedowns for wrestling. So I prefer it because I was thinking about different martial arts whilst I was doing something else, which I know a lot of people probably don't do that, and I don't advise doing it. I'd probably advise learning one thing. It just worked for me, and it kept my mind ticking over.
No, that's good. Well, it must be useful to have that kind of ability to do that, because that's not me. Like I played rugby for like 5 or 6 years, like while I was at school, and then even joining jujitsu now, I've been caught out so many times because where you know in rugby when you tackle someone you kind of dig your shoulder and your head goes to like the side. I've been caught out so many times get into easy people getting me in easy headlocks like the first few weeks I was there, just because I was so used to just getting my head, just completely exposing my head, because obviously in rugby I'm not used to people getting me in headlocks. I'm used to just driving with my shoulders. So yeah, and you know it's just different. And obviously I can't speak for all martial arts, and I haven't trained in an MMA gym. I've just done taekwondo for about 6 years and then jiu-jitsu for like 6 months or so. But there are definitely similarities. I see what you mean, like how the wrestling helped the jiu-jitsu, and how you know you get into a position in wrestling that would make you remind you of jiu-jitsu, because in jiu-jitsu how it's scored, you get different points if you like sweep someone, you get into like different positions and stuff. They're each scored based on how effective they are for striking. Is that something that's familiar for you? So like say like a being in mount is like scored quite highly because you can land blows from that position, but it's scored highly within jiu-jitsu, which is a non-striking sport. So there is definitely like overlap there, especially for jiu-jitsu as well, of like they're obviously thinking about getting you in those positions. Even for me, like I don't do striking when I'm doing jiu-jitsu, but there's the incentive to get into those positions that are good for striking. So I guess it all does kind of link together. And in my taekwondo, I've had like times where we've learned like some takedowns and stuff just for self-defense. And I think British taekwondo are really trying to integrate different things like that, because taekwondo gets a bad rap. Like, unless you're really effective at like long range kicks, your distance well, it's not going to be useful like in a street fight. Realistically, like, um, the fitness aspect and like the confidence, like you'll learn how to throw a basic punch, you'll learn to throw some kicks and stuff, and you'll have your fitness will improve. But in terms of like doing an axe kick or like a spinning like hook kick or something, it's not very effective in a real life situation, or even in MMA. Obviously you have like people in UFC who can pull stuff like that off, but it's just not for the everyday person. It's not effective to learn taekwondo. So they have added things in, like for our gradings now we're doing knife defense. So we have like a wooden knife and you have to like block the wooden knife and grab it and stuff. And there's some other techniques like a self-defense. So like you'll get grabbed and then you have to arm lock them out and flip them onto the ground and stuff. So there definitely are some even taekwondo and jiu-jitsu who are which I would say are very much opposite martial arts. There are some similarities that are like getting added into them, which I find very interesting. But
it's all self-defense. It's all part of it. Like jiu-jitsu, it gets you, like say you get points scored for striking, like you've thought of quite highly, because if you go into a street situation and you start pulling guard, but you're not pulling the head down and trapping their arm in a street fight, you just pull guard, someone's just going to drill you straight in your mouth for a punch. But if you're pulling the back of the head and you've got their arm tucked, and you start, even in the street fight, you start popping, if you pop a triangle on someone, whether they can try and pick you up or not, if you get a triangle on someone in any form of street environment, they go into sleep 3 seconds, and it's tapping's not a thing. It's a case of I'm putting you to sleep, because if I don't put you to sleep, you're going to keep trying to punch me.
You've got to neutralize the threat in it. So no,
exactly,
because it makes sense, doesn't it? Because obviously they originated from like self-defense techniques anyway, like real world fighting. So it makes sense why jiu-jitsu would reward you to get into these like striking positions. But I just find it interesting how it's like even integrated into the sport, where it's like you score points in modern jiu-jitsu for getting into these striking positions where you're not technically allowed to strike. But I put someone to sleep for the first time the other day in jiu-jitsu, which is, it's not a nice feeling, I mean,
I found it weird. I found it really weird. I've only ever done it once, and it's weird.
I got him into a triangle, and he was just my mate. Like we were just playing around. I got him into a triangle, and it was a good one. I could feel and you can feel it. It's a good. You can feel it. The stars align. Right. It's all locked up right. I was like, oh, nice. And I started squeezing, and I could see it was a triangle from the bottom, so I could see his face. And I said, I was pulling, and I said to him, "Are you going to tap?" I said to him, "Are you going to tap?" And he was like, "Nah." And then as soon as he said no, he just did that, and he was just out. Yeah. And I was just like, "Oh my god!" So I started getting him, and I'm not like, I'm not first aid trained. I didn't know what to do, so I was just like slapping him, like, "Oh, wake up, wake up, wake up!" And then he come through at the end. But it's not a nice feeling. Yeah, I remember people at my school. They were they used to just like strangle, like they used to just like rear choke each other and just pass out for no reason. It's not a nice feeling.
Yeah, man. You're losing brain cells now.
Yeah,
nobody wants to do that.
You've got like a limited amount of time. You've got a limited amount of like lives. You know what I mean? Like you can't be doing that all the time, especially on purpose as well. But he was all right. But I was so, because like I hadn't knocked anyone out from like a choke before, so I was so like excited, and I was like, "Yo, like I just he just passed out." I was like telling the guys next to us and stuff, and then I thought like, "Oh man, I might be like, he might think I'm like taking the mick out of him." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I quietened it down for a little bit. Did you? What was yours like when you first like knocked someone out? In jiu-jitsu?
In jiu-jitsu, it was weird. It's only ever happened once, because I'd always let go if I feel like someone's ego trying to ego out of it, like just like, oh, I'm going to sleep. I'll let go before I know they're going to go to sleep and just try something else.
Well, that's
Because
what I
unless
tried, because I said to him, "Are you going to tap?" Because I thought like this is tight. You need to chill. Let's like just tap it. Like I was just like, "You're not going to get out. Just tap." And he didn't
tap,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. So yeah, so you
But,
normally let go, yeah, obviously before.
yeah, so the big fitness guy I was talking about before, he was like, just drill triangles on me. So I was just drilling triangles on him, and he was like, right, now I want you to squeeze until I tell you to, like, until I tap. So I was like, yeah, no, did it a few times, he tapped, and then I just popped a triangle on him. And by the time I popped the triangle on, locked it up my legs, and by the time I cleared his arm from there to across him, he was asleep. I was like waiting for him to tap. I was like, his arm's dead. So I just let go, and his head fell on me. And as his head fell on me, I thought, shit, because he's a big guy as well. I thought, he's going to go mental. And he just popped his head up and went, it was good that, weren't it? It was like, do it again. I was like, no, not in a million years.
What? And he was out. He was out before you moved his arm over.
Yeah, so I had locked. He was a big guy, so when I've locked it up, I've locked it up at pretty much my full extension, which must have just been tight. And as I've popped my chest up to clear his arm and pull his head down, as I've cleared his arm and gone to pull his head, he's just kind of like just fell.
Just slumped.
I was like,
yeah.
I waited for it like a second without squeezing, just had it locked up, and then I let go, and it was just like his head fell on me, and I was like, shit. But it was only about 5 seconds later, he just popped his head up, looked at me, and went, it was good that, and I was like, no, it weren't. I don't want to do that again. So I just, from then on, if I get someone in an arm bar, or if I got someone in anything I could break, I would just literally just do it, and I would the tiniest lever back. And if they're trying to ego out of it, I just let go. I was like, and if they're really trying to ego out of it, and I get to a point where I could break their arm or I could seriously cause some damage, I'll let go, and then I'll tell them. I'll ask them what the problem is. Yeah. So like, you have in a fight situation, you don't do that. They're breaking your arm. In a street situation, if someone gets you in an armbar, they're just going to pop your elbow straight out. They're not going to wait and let you roll around for a bit. They're just going to pull your arm back and snap it. I was like, I'm giving you time whilst I'm pulling back to know that you've been beat. Yeah. Just tap. And I always tap. I find the only way you learn is by tapping. The only thing you learn by trying to macho out of it is how to get yourself injured quick. And a lot, but you'll be surprised how many people that do MMA have got some form of ego that they just don't. They're maybe like, I've been doing it 3 years, you've only been doing it 2. I'm not tapping to you. I was doing it for 6 years, and I'd be going against like my training partners. They've only been doing it 2, and they were getting better and better and better. Then one day I'm having an off day. I shoot a takedown. They wrap a guillotine on me, pull guard. I know I'm done for. I'll hold out as long as I can physically hold out for to see if they let go. But ultimately, I'm never going to go to sleep. I'm always going to tap, because they don't learn anything by me going to sleep, and I don't learn anything by me going to sleep. So I just find the best way, just tap, and think about it, and get on with it.
Yeah, no, I think because people always see like jiu-jitsu as like, oh, that's horrible. Like, people get their arms snapped and knocked out and stuff, and they're passing out. But the only way that ever happens is from ego. Like, it's never the other. Like in boxing or taekwondo or something. Like, you'll take a kick to the head or a punch to the head or something, and there's nothing you can do. Like, that's the game. You'll take it. You'll get like a, there's documentaries about like brain injuries and stuff, just constantly getting hit in the head and stuff. I don't know too much about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. But people see like getting choked out as worse than that. But the only thing that causes you to actually like pass out is your own ego. Like, you have the ability to tap at any point, even if they literally just get you into that position and you tap straight away, like before they even apply pressure. You've done the way I think of it is, if you get into that position in the first place, if they're on your back and they've got you in a choke, you've lost. It's game over already. There's no the fight's done. Like, there's nothing else that can happen. Yeah,
if they wanted to kill you, you're already dead. You're not so if someone gets you in a rear naked choke, and they're not in a real life situation, then they're not just going to wrap it up and squeeze slowly. They're going to wrap it up and pull, and just pull as hard as they can till ultimately something in your throat's going to go before anything else, or they're going to break your neck by pulling. But yeah, it is a game of kill. So the only thing that can do more damage to you is you.
Yeah, you literally have the choice and the ability to just stop at any time. That's the same with like locks
Yeah,
as well, like arm bars and
yeah,
stuff. Like I see people holding on, and I've had to let go sometimes because I'm like I'm not prepared to snap this guy's arm just over like sparring. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't.
yeah, yeah,
It's not worth it. It's not worth it for him. But obviously in the heat of the moment, you know, they'll do anything to win. So
yeah,
um and you see that in some like professional fights as well, like when there are boxers who are like, you know, out on their feet, and then their coach throws in the towel and they're ready to keep going. Like I think in the situation, because you can't blame it on people, because in the situation you don't know like how screwed you really are. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if you're in like an armbar, you're like, oh no, I can get out of it, I can get out of it. But it takes that like other person's perspective to realize like, no, the fight is over. And like
yeah,
when a professional boxer's like out on his feet, like you need the coach there to like throw in the towel, because that's when things get messy, is when you've already lost and you just keep going, keep going, keep
yeah,
going.
yeah,
Because the fight of jiu-jitsu happens, the fight jiu-jitsu doesn't have anything to do with submissions, really. It has everything to do with getting into those positions,
yeah. It's
essentially.
the
It's about,
the
yeah,
build up to it.
it's about the journey to get into those submissions rather than the submissions themselves. Because I think people, that's like the you know, that's like the poster of jiu-jitsu. People are like, oh, I want to learn how to like choke people out, but it's nothing like that. Like in my first few weeks, I didn't learn many submissions. I train there 4 or 5 days a week, and we don't do submissions that often, because once you know a few, it's, you know, you 90% of the time you're not doing submissions. That's just the end. That's just the end the match.
Yeah, yeah.
It's about creating space and, you know, manipulating the other person's body, manipulating your body. Um, yeah, and that's
Exactly. It's a thinking game as well. Like
mm,
it's not like wrestling's more like macho. Like I'm bit like you just got to be like pig-headed and go for it, and everything's going to be 100 mile an hour. Don't really think about it, just do. Whereas jiu-jitsu is more like, right, I can sit here, I'm safe. Is my head
yeah,
clear? Is my posture right? If right now I want to start passing, now I need to start thinking about which pass am I going to do? How am I going to break the guard? How am I going to get to side control? It's all that thinking. And then once you're comfortable in that position, and then your brain goes to, right, now what's on offer for me? Can I make them do something which will then give up a submission? It's not a case of, right, now I'm in this position, so an armbar needs to be here for me. You
yeah,
need to get in that position and then work your way into it. A lot of people think that now I'm in side control, you've got to let me Kimura or armbar you. And it's
mm,
not. It's all about that build up and all about that setup. You set traps for people. And a lot of people don't see it. They see the triangle. They see like Nate Diaz in UFC triangling someone, and he's sat there like that whilst he's got a triangle wrapped up on him. And they're
mm,
like, I want to do that. But then they don't see the fact that he's just had to pull the head down, wrap their arm, make sure they're not punching him, then work their way into the triangle. Not he doesn't. They don't just fall into his submissions. Like nobody
yeah,
just falls in there. You've got to know the foundations and basics. First of all, for you not getting submitted, so defense, and second of all, how you set things up.
yeah. And that's what I find so interesting about watching like more experienced people at my own gym, is like when they know all the moves, it's not about who can do the best triangle or the best armbar. It's a chess game, effectively. It's about like
It is.
I'm moving this way, I'm going to force you to do this, and it's totally mental. Once you get to a certain level, it's totally mental. Like for me, I'm a big guy. Like I'm 100 kilos. I'm 6'3". So there aren't a lot of people that are like that big guy. There aren't a lot of people that like. There aren't a lot of bigger people that I've like sparred with. So at the moment, I've sort of had the luxury of being able to just out strength everyone. You know, like just brute
Yeah.
force it. But once you get to like, I've had a few like playing around spars with like some brown belts and some black belts and stuff, just as like a bit of fun, and it's just a
Yeah.
totally different level. Like, um, and that's where it gets into that like chess game, like sport. I think definitely. They're all the questions I have for you, Unlimited Anthony. Is there you got any closing remarks? Where can the listeners find you?
Like, find me on YouTube, most importantly, Unlimited Anthony. If you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, go on to any one of my videos and you'll find the links in the descriptions. But yeah, ultimately, find me on YouTube. That's where I post every single Tuesday and every single Friday at 7 o'clock. So yeah, if you want to watch some just average guy content, if you will, just enough, there's no millions of pounds going into anything. I'm not building a house. I'm not buying a Lamborghini. I'm just living my life and doing normal things. Yeah, you can follow me
Who
on
are those
YouTube.
guys? There are those two old guys you've been reacting to. Who are they?
And that's Pete and Baz. They're two grime drill artists, and I'm gonna go and watch them live this year as well. So
Oh,
that'll be
really?
good. I do react. Yeah, I react to their stuff. Like, what I've reacted to like 6 of the things, and every time I react to them, it blows my mind. Just like, if I want to be 73 and I want to be doing that. If I'm not doing that at 73, I'm not doing it right. They're living.
No, crazy. No, do they make it themselves, or do you know, or is it like someone behind, like someone younger behind them? Because that's crap.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They every interview I've watched and listened to, they say they do it all themselves. So I'm gonna guess they seem to be in full control of everything. So I mean, yeah, but there's even the stuff they write really clever stuff. Like, people, like, I always message it to my brother. My brother's like, "Oh, get away with that, get away with that. I'm not listening to that. I'm not listening to that." But
Yeah.
like, when you actually sit there and listen to it, there's some of the lyrics you're like, they blow my mind, because even though they're 73, they're still in with the times. They still reference stuff that's happening now. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people misunderstand it. They go, "Oh, they're just like, they're a gimmick and they're not taking it seriously." Or they're just like, someone's ghostwriting for them, they're just saying it and they're not very good. But the delivery is good, the videos are good, the lyrics are good, and them two as personalities are very, very witty and they come across well. So I enjoy them, and they're good.
Yeah, I was watching your most recent reaction to them, so I only found out about them from you. So, and it's funny as hell. Like, yeah, it's some good stuff. They're like British, like 90-year-old Pop Smoke. That's the only thing I can like, because
Yeah,
one of the guys' voice is so husky as well. You know,
yeah,
he's so like, "Rrr," you know. So
yeah.
that
Yeah.
was so cringe.
No, that's exactly what he sounds like,
It's
though.
like,
That's
"Rrr,
exactly
rrr."
what he sounds
Yeah.
like. Yeah. That's
Anyway, yeah,
Pete and Baz.
yeah, Pete and Baz. So yeah, as he said, Unlimited Anthony on the YouTube, and he has always links on there. And for the listeners that have stuck around this long, thanks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers.